Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. This is Shelly over at Crafty Cottage Dreams, and I am finally finished with both journals here, and I have some mini journals as well for my design team project for Lydia over at Raindrop Lila. This is also a collaboration with Gisela over at the Lavish Laces. So I have two journals that I did create. They are measuring 12 inches in length and 6 inches in width, and I believe the smaller journals, I forget, are like 3.5 width and 3 inches in length. And the smaller little mini journals that go along with these journals are no-sew tab binding journal. So, and they're 2 signatures. So that was really fun to create. So, being that I have 2 journals and mini journals, I think it may be a pretty long video. So I do apologize for that, and I hope to get through it really quickly. So I am going to set one of these journals aside, and these are fabric covered squishy journals, which I love so much, and they are extremely filled, as you can see here, and they are stuffed to the brim, which allowed me, being that they're fabric cover journals, which allowed me to fill it like I did. And I really do also have to mention that I did use a lot of my friend Sherry Alexander's antique vintage laces and trims throughout here, along with Gisela's. We received a beautiful collaboration package, all of our design team members for Raindrop Lila. We received a beautiful, which I did post a video of that, filled with ephemera, ledgers, postcards, and laces. So I did use a lot throughout that as well. So I will point out which one was Gisela's, and I did use a lot of Sherry's beautiful trims and laces, vintage, antique. So, and they were very beautiful, and I thought it was so fitting for this journal. So I do have it wrapped with this beautiful chiffon. It's so beautiful and creamy. So I'm going to set that aside for now. And this is it. I added some beautiful homemade flower here in cream, and also a pink one. And this is a vintage lace in the background with some crystal beading here. It must have been off a fabric remnant or something, but it is very old. And then I added a lace bow here with some bling. There's some bling here, some beautiful clay flowers which are attached, and I added some silver bling here. And then this is the back, and it's just so luscious. It's so beautiful. Look at that yumminess on the inside, guys. It's so pretty, and I really loved how everything came out. I'm so happy. So let's take a walk on the inside. So here's that beautiful fabric, and I did do stitching all around the edges. Not sure if you can see. This is, I did use Lydia's sorry, I forgot to mention, Yellow Rose collection, which is so beautiful. I don't generally work with yellow, but all the girls, I'm pretty sure all of them used the Yellow Roses collection. So this is a one signature journal, hidden spine, of course. And it's so, I mean, it's so flexible and squishy, and I love it. And I love this fussy cut from Lydia's Yellow Rose collection. And then we have this beautiful image here. It's so pretty, with some beautiful lace and trim from Sherry. The cover, the whole cover is from all the goodies that Sherry generously, she's such a beautiful friend and I love her. And I just added some beautiful washi, which had some yellow flowers on there as well. And then, let's see if I can get this off. And I literally used the whole collection, the Yellow Roses collection. So I'm not gonna like repeat myself consistently throughout this video, so you'll know. But I purchased this printing fabric, and I printed Lydia's Yellow Roses collection on it, and I added some vintage lace to the back. And I did use a bit of her Parisian collection too, Lydia's Parisian collection. I added some vintage lace here, and I added some little bit of bling. So it's a cute little fabric tag. And then I really hope I'm in focus and you guys can see really well. And then I have this cute little pocket tag. And on the inside, which is a doily here, some beautiful yellow bling, and a cream floral there. And then I got these stickers from Amazon, so I added to this tag. And this is a mustard colored sari. And then we have this tag as well. And look at that beautiful. And I'm missing a page. Oh gosh, sorry guys. I'm like way ahead of myself. Okay, let's put this back. I already showed you that, but anyway. Gosh. Anyway, and then I made this little, excuse me, booklet. And this was like a photo. I received it from Gisela and our collaboration package, and I believe it held old photos, but it was a bright red cover, which didn't really fit in the theme of this journal, so I did use Lydia's digital collection. I added some yellow rosebuds here with some tulle trim. And added, just made it nice and pretty. So I just did a little collage in there in the front. Not so much in the, because I wanted to at least keep it somewhat. So, but and I added this beautiful tag. This one. And it just tucks right inside here. I love that image. I think it's so pretty. So that they all just tuck right inside here. And then I added some beautiful lace trim here. I just made a cluster of various vintage and antique remnant laces and added this little flower. And then we already went through this one. And then this is this beautiful antique ledger from Gisela. I think it was so beautiful. And I added a little lace remnant cluster with a beautiful yellow flower there. And on the other side, I just added some washi tape there just to give it a little bit of dimension and texture. And here I also have another little vintage antique lace cluster here with a little yellow flower. And then I added this tag. I thought it was so cute. The little pink brad. Are her papers, I mean, the yellow just simply does pop. I think it was so gorgeous. So gorgeous. And I created this tag and added a little fussy cut of rose. A rose there, yellow rose. And then added some beautiful eyelet remnant. And this lace is from Gisela. Just simply made a little bow. You can certainly journal in the back. And then here, I love the aesthetic of this. I added a little yellow rose there, made a bow, and added a lace remnant. And here on the other side, I just created, I wrapped the lace over the page and added a bow on the end with some beautiful lace. And I made a little cluster with some green bling. I don't know if you can see that. And then we have this tag. Certainly journal in the back, and that just tucks right in there. This may be 2 parts because I don't know, I don't want it to be so super long. And then on the other side, I just added a little blue floral trim there. And then I had these cards. They're like cabinet cards that you can create with. And I got some watercolor paint through Amazon. It's a metallic yellow, so I did some splashing on that. And then added, I'm not sure if you can tell, maybe hard to tell, with a floral sticker there. And then on the other side, we have Gisela's beautiful antique ledger here. I loved it. I didn't really want to use it, but I had to. And then we have a little cluster here. I love doing clusters within my journals. I just think they're so beautiful. And a little yellow floral here. And then here is that, I just made a fabric tag. And this is out of that fabric printing paper that I had. I just added some vintage eyelet to the back and added some clusters here on the top, lace and some trim. And I love these clips I got off from Amazon. They're so stinking cool. I added a lot throughout that. And we're just going to flip this to the other side. Let's see. Here we go. And here's that, the other side of that beautiful ledger. And then I created this tag. I added that clay flower, which you saw on the front of the journal, some masking tape, and then I binded it with some of my gold sequin trim. That it added a nice touch. And then over on this side, and here is, I love this clip. I think it's so awesome. But anyway, I created, what do we call these? I made them out of paper. It's just, oh my gosh, not a belly band, but, oh my God, I'm just speechless right now. But anyway, I just made, with a bunch of scraps I had left over, and attached it to this linen on the back. And I did a lot of sprinkling of that yellow metallic color throughout this. And I added some washi. I did some stenciling and my little floral sticker there. And I thought it'll come to me. I forget what, I mean, you can certainly cut them and add throughout the journal in any way your little heart's desire. But I thought it was so stinking cute. And then here is another fabric tag. Some antique vintage lace in the back. And then I just made a little paper cluster up here with some vintage trim and some bling. And that just clips. And then I'm sorry, I forgot what they were called. It'll come to me, I hope, anyway. And then I just created this tag, had some vintage laces to the top with some antique music paper in the back. And then this was, I loved from Gisela and her package she gave us. It's like tracing paper or some sort of tissue paper that was within something at one point in time, but I loved that it had the lettering here on the side. So I added that. I added some beautiful yellow florals here on the side. And then here is another one of those that I created. Some linen in the back. Just like a paper collage. I added some stenciling, washi tape, and stickers. And I splattered with some metallic yellow. Not sure if you can tell on camera or not. And then I love that fussy cuts. And then I added this. I sprinkled that metallic watercolor on handmade paper to stress the edges, and added this yellow, beautiful flower here. And here is the center, and here is Gisella's beautiful lace here, and I entwined it with that beautiful blushy pink ribbon that she had sent as well. And then I added this fabric remnant in the center that you can play with. I added it because it had the yellow embroidery flower, so you can certainly play with that. And then we received these negative photos, and they were really kind of, in Gisella's package, they were really, and I wasn't sure how to incorporate them besides maybe sticking them in a pocket. But what I figured I would do is what I did was take that negative, and I just did some stitching here, basket weave stitching with a bow on a bunch of, it's like a fabric tag maybe, and I just collaged a whole bunch of vintage laces on here, made a cluster with that blue floral trim, and I adhered it to that page. So I just thought that was kind of cool feature. And then here I also made another vintage lace. I wrapped it around the top and just tied it on the end here and made a bow. And I made a little cluster with some flower up there, and I added this tag, which just tucks in there. And then I had this, I've had this for some time. It came in a package I ordered through Etsy at one point in time, but I loved the yellow rose there. And that is the back. And that tucks right in there. And here's the other side, that. And that tissue paper, and then I made this beautiful pocket, and I added the fussy cut rose there. I just love this floral paper from Lydia's digital collection. It's so beautiful. And I just made it into a pocket, and then I added this cluster, some Matchbox, little journal. You can certainly, with some coffee stained paper, certainly journal in it or add to it. And then I added this lovely piece of ephemera. And then I created this tag. I love the topaz bling there with beautiful vintage cluster of laces. Then I used sample stamp there in the back. And they all just tuck inside here. And here's the other side. I just created a pocket here and add some laces and tatting. And I created this little tag, and we did some sample stamping. And then we have another one of these, only because it was yellow, I had to use it. And that is the back. And then I created this tag with vintage lace. That's backed with music paper and sample stamp. And then here is the back of that ledger. So pretty. I just added a little yellow flower here. Here's a tag, lace remnant, sample stamp. And here is again that homemade paper, which I did that metallic watercolor paint on and added that beautiful yellow sticker. Here's that beautiful yellow trim. I love that. And I just attached that. I love that digital portrait. It's so pretty. I added some lace remnants here and a bow. Here is another beautiful tag. I just added some yellow ribbon here. Isn't she gorgeous? And that's the back. And here, I loved this lace remnant from Sherry, so I just made it into a flip up, and I loved that it had this, I added that as extra on the top there with that snap closure that was still already attached there. I thought that was cool. Then here we had some vintage portraits, and he's so adorable. Look how adorable he is. Of photos that we got in Gisella's package, and this is lace. I did tea dye that. We received this beautiful lace, and it had all the florals in it, so I just simply cut them out. And I added a sample stamp here with antique music paper, and this is the back of the postcard. Now these postcards, and this was from Gisela too, that she gave us. So I just thought it was, the front was so bright and vibrant, and I didn't think mixed well with this journal, so I just did a bunch of collaging with these beautiful antique photos that she sent us. And that is the back. And then here is another tag I created. And I love this paper, but I added some beautiful lace remnants on the top. I couldn't, me and laces in a journal, I love it. I'll often use a lot throughout my journal. So, my journals, and there's a lot of lace in this journal. So here's that clay flower again, which kind of fits in with the front cover. And that image is so beautiful with the yellow roses, masking tape, and of course that beautiful gold sequined trim that I used to wrap around the tag. And here's that beautiful fussy cut and that antique ledger from Gisela. And here is another fabric piece. And I love these clips. I'm so getting more. I used a lot throughout these journals I created. And another fabric remnant off that printing fabric paper. And I just added some vintage lace in the back and some clusters. Lace cluster with some trim. And then here I added this beautiful pocket. It's so pretty. I added some, I'll put them in focus, a nice cluster here with that yellow flower. And this is just a pocket with a yellow rose fussy cut. And on the inside, I created this tag with antique music paper in the back, some lace. I added this image with some yellow sticker in the back. And then we received these beautiful postcards, and I loved the vintage. Well, they are vintage. I just loved them, so I just made them into a little booklet. And these were all the postcards from, I just added some washi from Gisela in our collaboration kit. So I just simply made it into a little booklet. And that tucks right in that pocket. And I also added this. And of course, using some brown paper packaging, washi tape, I just added some stickers, stamping. You can certainly cut it up and use throughout your journals, or this journal, or keep as is. And it all tucks in here. And I added this tag. We're coming close to the end, ladies. I love this remnant. Little pretty yellow flower there. I love this image from Lydia's collection. Antique music paper. And again, here is, again, I had, excuse me guys, I'm going to take a drink of my water. Again, I had another postcard that I received from Gisela, which was in our collaboration. I love the back, but the front not so much. So what I did was, only because it was very glossy, vibrant, so I just topped it with some antique music paper. I added that sweet photograph there that came along in my package as well, and this beautiful lace that I cut out, sample stamp. I did some beautiful lace trim from Gisela, and that just attaches there. Washi tape. Here's the other side of that. And look at how flexible this is. I just added a yellow rose there, and I just love this. Again, with handmade stitching all around. And that is my journal, guys. I love how everything hangs out. Here it is. So yummy and beautiful. I love everything about this journal. And let me just reattach this. And I think I had another clip that went there. Anyway. Maybe I didn't. Maybe it went up here. Let's just put it up there for now. I'll go through it again. So that is that. And it's so pretty. I just love everything about it. I had so much fun creating this journal. And then let's set this aside. And then I have the little mini. And again, it's 2 signature, no sew journal tab binding. So I am going to, and these are all of Gisela's laces, and I actually dyed them yellow with just some yellow food coloring. So I thought they came out really good. Some dyed well, some not so others, but it still has that hue tint of yellow on it, so I thought it was super cool. And then we're just gonna flip through this quickly. Antique music paper, Lydia's digitals, and then this cluster with a yellow bow. And I made a little pocket here. And I added this tag. Gisella's lace on the top. And then I just add a sample stamp. You can play with. And I added some parchment paper. This paper is actually from, I just loved the patina on it. It's actually from an antique book actually. So I just used the blank pages of that antique book. And then this is Gisella's beautiful yellow ribbon. I had some blue and I just entwined it with her lace. And that was the first signature. Now we move, as you can see, the opening here with the tab binding. I thought it was a neat technique. And this is the second signature. Love the beautiful cluster with the yellow seam binding. Gisella's lace. I just made a pocket here. Gisella's lace here, and I added a few things. Gisella's lace there on the top. Sample stamp on antique, stamped on an antique paper. It's the center of that signature. Another pocket here, filled with some yummies. Gisella's lace here. Sample stamp. Little tab with some of Gisella's lace. Another sample stamp on antique paper. A beautiful cluster here. Like I said, I love doing that within my journals. With some yellow seam binding. And that's the end of that journal. So I am going to take a break. This is part 1. There will be a part 2 of the second journal I created. I just don't want this video to be so super long. I'll wrap that up again in a minute. And I'll make it all pretty and nice. But yes, guys, thank you for joining me. Collaboration with Lydia, design team, actually my design team project for June, using Lydia's Yellow Roses collection. And collaboration with Gisella over at Lavish Laces. This is one of the journals. I'm going to call it part 1, Yellow Roses Design Team Project Collaboration Journal. And I do have another one here, but as I said again, I just don't want to make this video so long. So I will do a part 2 with my second journal. So I'll see you soon, guys. In the meantime, much love and hugs, and I'll see you in a bit. Bye-bye.